Was Jungkook silently saying goodbye and no one noticed? In the weeks leading up to his sudden disappearance from public view, eagle-eyed fans now believe he may have left behind subtle messages, cryptic captions, melancholic song lyrics, and even emoji sequences that, when seen in hindsight, feel more like final chapters than casual posts. One fan compiled a heartbreaking timeline of his last Weverse updates, noting a recurring theme of distance, reflection, and emotional detachment. Could it be that Jungkook had already made peace with stepping away from the spotlight, or worse, from the industry itself? While HYB remains tight-lipped, the theory has gained serious traction online, with armies across the globe now combing through old content, desperately searching for clues. If this was his farewell, it might be the quietest and most devastating exit in K-pop history. AS fans revisit every post, every lyric, every look. Something eerie begins to unfold. In one of his final live broadcasts before enlistment, Jungkook softly sang a few lines from Still With You, but this time, his voice cracked on the word goodbye. At the time, it felt emotional. Now, it feels prophetic. Was he trying to tell us something? Another post, dated just days before his enlistment, included nothing but a single black heart emoji and the caption, "Time moves, but will you still wait?" Some thought it poetic. Others now believe it was a warning, that he feared the version of Jungkook fans knew might never return. And here's where it gets darker. Fans tracking his social activity noticed that shortly after enlisting, Jungkook untagged himself from multiple old posts, including several linked to HYB promotions and brand partnerships. Combined with his sudden social silence and HYB's refusal to comment on his mental state or future plans, the theory of a hidden farewell no longer feels far-fetched. It feels real. Why would Jungkook say goodbye this way? Maybe because he wasn't allowed to say it any other way. Some suspect that contractual restrictions prevented him from making bold statements before his service. Others believe he was already emotionally distancing himself from the K-pop machine, dropping hints that only those truly paying attention could decode. In doing so, he may have crafted a farewell not through press releases or headlines, but through scattered traces of emotion. A lyric here, a glance there, a silence that grows louder by the day. And that's what makes this theory so devastating. If Jungkook was saying goodbye, not with words but with silence, then we weren't watching a PR strategy. We were watching a heartbreak in real time. Now, the world waits. Not for a comeback, but for a confirmation. Will he return to the stage, to the fans, to the light? Or will the Jungkook we knew remain a memory, frozen in time before the silence took over? Whatever happens next, one thing is clear. Jungkook's quiet may have spoken louder than anything he's ever sung. The more you look, the more you see. One fan account went viral for pointing out a detail that had gone unnoticed for months. In a behind-the-scenes clip uploaded just before his enlistment, Jungkook stares at the camera for an uncomfortable few seconds. No words, just a half smile that fades too quickly. In the background, a clock ticks audibly, louder than normal, almost as if deliberately emphasized in the edit. The timestamp? 1:13 p.m. Armies immediately caught the significance. 1:13, a reference to BTS's debut date, June 13th. Coincidence? Or calculated symbolism? This wasn't just a goodbye, it was a coded farewell. Even his final Instagram story, seemingly innocuous, featured a blurry sunset photo with the caption, "I'll go where the light takes me." But fans later discovered the photo was taken near HYB's private artist dorm exit, leading many to believe it was his final walkout. On his own terms, Jungkook trying to free himself from something he can't say out loud. What's even more unsettling is HYB's reaction, or lack thereof. No warm public message. No soft countdown to his return. No plans announced. It's as if they're avoiding him, or erasing him. One former entertainment manager, under anonymity, claimed this kind of radio silence only happens when internal legal or psychological crises are at play, where agencies are advised to avoid fueling speculation. But here's the truth. Silence is fuel, and now the fire is out of control. Thousands of fans have started archiving Jungkook's entire digital footprint, saving every post, every live stream, every lyric he ever wrote. Not just for nostalgia, but out of fear. A fear that when he returns, he may not be allowed to speak freely. There's a theory gaining traction that chills the spine, that Jungkook, once free from service and contract, may drop one final message, a song, a video, a handwritten letter, and vanish. Not as a publicity stunt, not as rebellion, but as escaped, an emotional, quiet exit from a world that consumed him since he was 15. Could that be why he distanced himself from social media? Why he left fans with unanswered posts and unfinished thoughts? Because if he told the truth too early, he'd be stopped. What if he's already been stopped? And what if the last real message he gave us is one we missed? The sunset, the paused gaze, the whispered lyrics, the cold silence, not mistakes, not forgetfulness, but warnings if Jungkook never comes back the way we remember him, not as the golden magne, but as a free, authentic version of himself. What will we do with the pieces he left behind? And what if those pieces are all we have? And then, just like that, he was gone. And oh, final live. No farewell letter. No scheduled appearance or last-minute surprise. One day, he was part of our daily feeds, our playlists, our hearts, and the next, it was just silence. But was it really sudden? Not if you look closer. In his last live stream before enlistment, Jungkook ended the video with a soft whisper. It was barely audible. Fans thought he said, "I'll see you soon." But an audio engineer enhanced the clip, and what you hear instead? "If I don't come back, don't forget me." That one line shattered millions of hearts. And now, armies around the world are no longer asking, what's happening with Jungkook? They're asking, was this the end, and we didn't realize it? Think about it. The subtle emotional distance, the unexplained vanishing from social media, the agency's deafening silence, the sudden disconnection from previously promoted content, and the layered symbols in every piece of content he left behind. Sunsets, locked doors, long shadows, unspoken words. This wasn't a hiatus. It wasn't just a meal. It was a slow-motion exit. A goodbye delivered not in one moment, but across time, through heartbreak hidden in poetry, fear veiled in silence, and hope flickering like the last light at dusk. And yet, some still believe he'll return. That the silence is part of something bigger. That he's protecting something or someone. That he's planning something that will change everything. But what if he's just done? Done with being an icon. Done with being a product. Done with being watched, dissected, and expected to smile through it all. What if the only way he could reclaim himself was to disappear? And if that's true, then we're not just fans waiting for a comeback. We're witnesses to the quietest rebellion in K-pop history, not for an album, not for a teaser, but for a sign. Maybe he'll speak again. Maybe not. Maybe he already has, in the language of those who listen, not to the noise, but to the silence in between. And if this was Jungkook's goodbye, then maybe the most loving thing we can do is not demand his return, but protect the version of him that left. Somewhere out there, in a quiet military dorm, there's a man who once made stadiums tremble with his voice. Now, he speaks to no one. The world that used to revolve around him has gone quieter. The headlines slowed. The noise faded. But the ache? It grows. Because we don't miss just his face, or his voice, or the dazzling performances. We miss the presence, the connection, the way he made millions feel like they were seen, even when he couldn't see himself. And now, fans are left with fragments, a lyric scribbled in a notebook, a voice crackling in a late-night V-Live, a black-and-white Instagram story with no caption, a tweet that ends mid-thought. Together, they don't tell a story, they whisper a memory. It's like trying to catch light with bare hands. The harder you hold on, the faster it slips through your fingers. Maybe we stop trying to explain it. Maybe there's no press release, and resolution, and clean ending. Maybe Jungkook didn't give us closure because he didn't know us one. Maybe this silence is the closure, not a door slamming shut, but a page turning, softly, gently, to a new chapter we're not meant to read. Yeah, he gave the world everything. His youth, his vulnerability, his pain, his joy. And in the end, all he asked for was space, and maybe a little peace. If this really was goodbye, not in words, not in banners, but in sunsets and whispers and quiet steps away. Then let's not fill the silence with noise, let's fill it with gratitude. Because even in leaving without warning, Jungkook reminded us of something powerful, that idols are not ours to keep, they're ours to remember. The silence is deafening. Not just from Jungkook, but from HYB, from the media, from those who once couldn't
Stop talking about him.
as if the world hit pause and forgot to press play again. But we haven't forgotten, we won't forget. Because this is not just about an idol. It's about a soul who gave us a piece of himself with every note, every smile, every scar he tried to hide under makeup and stage lights. And now we realize, maybe it's our turn to give something back. Point one that doesn't ask for more. Point one that honors what was already given. Point one that whispers through time. We were here, and so were you.